Hello, my beautiful people. Today we're doing something a little bit different. It's definitely controversial, but I really hope everyone enjoys it. Alright, guys, so I know this issue is definitely one that is controversial. Any issue that is related to race is controversial, but I do think we should talk about this and discuss it amongst ourselves. People are surprised that English is my first language. I don't blame them. But Disney recently decided to cast Ariel as an African American woman, Halle Bailey. When I first read the article, I thought it said Halle Berry. I didn't know I was also dyslexic, but I went back and looked at it. It would be strange because the Little Mermaid is a 16, 15-year-old and Halle Berry's 40. I do look older than Halle Berry, I'm not. But that would be strange. Can we agree on that? But to choose to change the ethnicity of the character is questionable. I'm a 90s kid. The Little Mermaid came out in 1989. I love The Little Mermaid. In my mind, I visualize The Little Mermaid as a Caucasian redhead, as do many of us. And because of Disney's inclusivity of other people, every little girl has a Disney princess that she looks at and thinks, yeah, I can relate to her. I kind of look similar to her. For me, that's Jasmine. Even though I don't necessarily look exactly like her, I can look at her and think, I can relate to that because she looks similar to me. So that makes it a little more of an icky issue if you have a bunch of little girls that see themselves in Ariel and you change her appearance. Not only that, we're going to get into issues like minority. If we look at the African American population, not African American, that's just silly. The African population, they are about 16 to 17% of the world's population. Then we have a smaller minority, which is people with red hair, and they are less than 2%. I feel like taking a role away from possibly an actress that looks more like how we envision Ariel is a bit mean. There's not a lot of lead roles for redheads. They're always supporting roles because, Hollywood. Not only that, but aesthetically, we just envision her as a redhead. We think of Ariel. Under the sea. She's Ariel. Do you know what I mean? You can't just change that. And it's two wrongs don't also make a right. Just because you're giving another minority a role and giving an African American woman a lead doesn't necessarily mean it's right to take that lead away from a redheaded woman. And then we can go into Disney inclusivity and, how many redheads they have in comparison to African American leads or princesses. So if we look at, Disney's list of redheads, we have like Ariel, her mother, Queen Athena. The movie was made in 1989. Anastasia in 1998. She was a Romanov, so it would make sense that she had red hair. And I think historically she was described as having red hair. So they wanted to be historically accurate with only some things. Then we have Merida in Tangled, and I think she's Scottish. Red hair. Thumbelina. Thumbelina's originally a Danish story. Makes sense. Anna from Frozen, they don't come from anywhere. They're just from like a land far, far away. So you can't really talk about hair color there. They're just from a frozen land far, far away. And then for African characters, we actually only have one princess, Tiana, from Princess and the Frog. So as far as Disney's concerned with African American princesses or African princesses, they're not doing great, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean it's right to change the ethnicity of a character. And I say this, and I urge you to think about this. If we're going to take a shoe and put it on the other foot, don't take your right shoe and put it on your left foot. It's very uncomfortable. As a child, I went to school that way, and worst day of school. I quickly learned which shoe was my right shoe. But say we were going to make another Princess and the Frog. Hypothetically. We decided tomorrow we're going to do it. But before we remake the movie, we're going to change Tiana into an Anglo-Saxon character with red hair. For argument's sake. Right? How would that go with the public? And why is it okay to do it to some ethnicities but not to others? I think where I stand with racism and people's skin color and whatever you want to call it, I think everyone should be treated equally, regardless. I know that historically African American people have suffered. They were not given equal rights. They experienced slavery, and that's horrible. But that's when I go back and I say, but two wrongs don't make a right. We have to be inclusive of everybody. I know this is, I can just see my comment section now. And if you disagree, that doesn't mean that you and I have a problem. That's what makes the world go round. Discussion, interaction. I'm not saying I'm right. This is just my point of view from where I'm looking at it. So if you have something to add to the discussion, that's why the comment section's down there. I'd love to hear from you. So if you didn't know, Hans Christian Andersen actually originally wrote the story of The Little Mermaid. And when I say he wrote the story, it's kind of strange because Disney, they take things, or Walt Disney used to take things and spin them in a way where it's kind of more friendly, maybe a little bit more child friendly, because the book is very sad at the end. She turns into, am I going to ruin it for you? Yes, I will. She turns into froth in the ocean and surrounded by angelic presences, that's not a word, don't use that if you're ever in a meeting. Presence, and she has to do good deeds for a certain period of time, and she turns back into a mermaid. The prince rejected her, married the chick that, helped him back to health when Ariel saved him, so very sad, right? In retrospect, I know it's very loosely based on the story, but it was written by a Danish writer. My dog's having a nightmare, so if you can hear whimpering, my other dog's going to check on him. This is actually so cute. Kiss him, Chance. Give him kisses. Give him a ming. Aww. He's okay, Chancey. Give him a kiss. Aww. They're so cute. So if they're going to try to respect anything, it's probably... look, it's so loosely based on the book that I can't even say that. But it is a Danish book. I think that's important to state somewhere in this mumbo-jumbo. Instead of possibly, as a solution, turning Ariel into an African character, they could have just created a new princess that made their brand and their fairy tales more inclusive. Instead of isolating a group of people, they could have just became more inclusive by writing a new story or putting something new together. Because I think this is a form of exclusion. It's not necessarily fair to the people that already have kind of seen themselves in Ariel. I don't know if everyone does that. It might just be a weird thing that I do, where I, attach to characters that look like me. I think we can relate this also back to, do you know how they're releasing dolls that look like little girls, so the little girls can have like a doll that looks like them, that they're more familiar with. It kind of reminds me of that. So I think everyone has their own kind of princess or whatever. So whatever. I also kind of want to go back to how Disney can get away with this. Generally, Disney movies have an origin. Like we're talking about originally Anastasia. It would be difficult for them to change the race of Anastasia because of the background history of the story. As well as Merida, who was Scottish. It would be difficult to cast, it'd be ridiculous to cast an African American actress or an Asian actress or, myself, someone that's like my race, which is Egyptian, or anything like that, as Merida, because she's Scottish. Obviously, I don't look like her. Thumbelina, which is a Danish story, it'd also be strange if they changed her nationality and cast her as whatever you have, like a Japanese person. So I think it was easier for them to cast a Little Mermaid as a different race because do mermaids even have a race? Are we going to group sections of the ocean and say if you're from this part of the ocean, you're like a Mediterranean mermaid, or if you're from this part of the ocean, you're an African mermaid? So they had wiggle room to play with the nationality of the mermaid because it's nothing set in stone. But we can also go into, respecting the original artists that created the cartoon and, re-envisioning what they made and turning it into a real-life movie. It sounds like I'm definitely someone that looks at skin color. I'm not. I just feel like it should be fair all round. I feel like if this was the other way around, people would be very offended. I don't know why, on one hand, if you replace a white actress with an African one, it's something that we cheer on, we acknowledge, we respect and love. But if we were to do it with an African character, it's something that's discouraged and it's also frowned upon. I think it should be level playing fields for everyone. I'm sorry it's really late. I've been out working all day and I literally just got home. So words, I've been talking a lot, are not my thing right now. But that's what I'm trying to get across. Why is it fair in one situation to do it to one group of people in our world and not to a different group? I think it should be fair everywhere. Whether I think this is not a personal thing about Halle Bailey, because she might do a bang up job, right? She might do a bang up job. She might look great as Ariel. That's great. Aesthetically, I won't see her as such because I envision Ariel as something completely different to that. I grew up and it's been imprinted in my mind that Ariel looks like this and this is not Ariel, which is definitely not the case, but it's what your mind makes of things, right? It's what your mind makes of it. Well, can we estimate the ratio of dislikes on this video? It's gonna be so bad. I have a notebook here. Wait, let me show it to you because I live for Harry Potter. And I also live for my coffee mug. It's got my doggies on it. It's really cute. You can get them made at Kmart if you're Australian, which I'm assuming Well, I know a large population of my viewers are not Australian because analytics and stuff. You guys are mostly from America, which is chill. Like, I've always wanted to go to America. USA, USA. I'm with it. I'm definitely with it. I want to go. Okay, so I think we're just gonna wrap this little baby up. Okay, I'm just too much. I think when I get overtired and I've had like, how many coffees did I have today? 3? 3 and a V. No, I had half a V because it was I don't drink sugar and I don't have sugar in my diet, so I had like a couple of sips from one of my mates' V's and I almost died. I don't know how people drink that every day. It's poisonous, I'm sure. Yeah, so I'm gonna wrap this baby up. Definitely be kind in the comment section down below. I do want to mention really quickly that, are you guys ready? I'm actually Egyptian, like I mentioned before, but I'm not an Arab. The Arabs invaded Egypt. I'm actually classed as an African, and my DNA does say that I am predominantly African, like from Kenya and the surrounding areas around Egypt. So I'm definitely not, I can't be racist against African people. My country is in Africa. And my DNA actually says that I'm like African. So it's not a race issue, definitely. It's an equality issue for me, definitely. I think I'm definitely someone that stands for people's rights regardless. And I'm just going to say that. My battery is about to die, so quickly wrap this up. Alright, so if you like this video, definitely let me know down below because this is the first type of video that I've made this way, so it'd be great. And give it a thumbs up because that will encourage me to make more like this. If you like the video, also subscribe and hit the little bell icon because I'm pretty sure I'll be making more of these. I like this type of content where we can get into the nitty damn gritty. Also, if you haven't checked out any of my reactions, make sure you go and check some of them out. As well as I'm active on other social medias such as Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Big breath, so go and follow me there. I'd love to have you. But until next time, my absolutely incredible human beings, I'll see you all later. Bye!